Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. So in today's video, I'm actually going to have a little bit of a different format, and that's because I'm going to be highlighting a recent FAQ video that was published by the New World developers. Now, it's pretty cool because they actually give us tons and tons of insights in regards to upcoming combat changes that are coming to New World. None of them are publicly available yet. I'm sure it'll be coming in the next few days. However, they gave us good insights about what combat changes are coming soon. With combat changes means a new meta and new best in slot items. So they give us a lot of information, and what I'm going to do is share some of the highlights and my thoughts on how you can actually prepare for this upcoming patch and make some gold out of it. First up, we've got some changes coming to overall armor types, whether it's light, medium, or heavy. So let's take a look at what they're talking about and how we can take advantage of the opportunity.
Will the dev team make further rollback changes to armor type, light, medium, heavy? Are they looking at the feedback from previous changes?
Yeah, so I think equip load in our game and the balance between equip load is something that has, evolved over time. If you remember, heavy meta was the thing, at the start of the game. Obviously now we're in a totally light meta era. We are definitely aware of it. We are going to be making some changes, and in fact, they're coming very soon to a PTR near you. We're going to be making some changes. And the main gist of it is right now, the idea is that light armor needs to be strong, like do a lot of damage. But the thing is, you can be in light armor, do all that damage, and still feel relatively safe due to certain perks and things like that. So that's really what we're going to tackle. We're going to try to make you have to take that risk. If you want the extra damage from light, you're going to have to be able to take some risks. So some of those perks are now going to be based on the armor of the character. So things like Resilient or Shirking Fort will be less strong if you're wearing light armor.
Okay, so this is huge right off the bat. As everyone knows, basically the meta right now is light armor. You can jump around like crazy, you've got crazy damage, and with these perks, you can honestly protect yourself pretty well, but that's not going to be the case going forward. To kind of take advantage of this overall update, I highly recommend that if you currently have gear that kind of looks like this right now on my screen with Resilient and Shirking Fortification, one or the other, and they're either light or medium, primarily just because you use that type of gear when creating a light set, I would highly recommend you try to sell it as soon as possible. Chances are they're going to nerf this to the ground. Again, there's no clear proof about this yet. I'll update the description of my video with some updates once they actually launch it. But again, if you have any Resilient or Shirking Fortification light gear that is currently best in slot, such as some of these items on my screen, sell them as soon as possible because there's a good chance they will not be valuable at all moving forward. Now, if light users end up getting nerfed hard with Resilient and Shirking Fortification, then they have to move to something, and that might open the door for further gold making opportunities. For example, maybe Elemental Aversion is going to become the new meta. For example, double down on Elemental Aversion craft mods, just stock them up because maybe they will skyrocket in price because of how hard this nerf is. Again, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is just another example of how you can potentially make some big gold and take advantage of this upcoming update. Let's go ahead and jump into the next section of the video.
Roadmap seems to be extremely PvE-centric. Is this the direction that the game plans to take continuing forward? Out of the 9 planned content in the roadmap, only 1 is PvP-focused, cross-server OPR, and that happens to be a quality of life feature.
Yeah, so when we say 9 planned, it's 9 announced. There's a lot of work going on in the game. So to answer the question really directly, no, the direction is not we're just a PvE game. We have a lot of conviction around supporting our PvP players. And there is significant work in 2023 going toward that. I'm not going to get super specific right now. We will in about a month, though. We'll have a lot more to share on it. And like I said, we just mentioned a PvP feature that's going to show up on the PTR. I wouldn't be surprised to see more over the next several months.
Yeah, and the combat balance changes we talked about, that was the equip load is one, but there's a number of them, and it's going to dramatically affect PvP. Things like the musket will likely be in our sights also.
So, the musket.
Yes.
Oh, the musket. Yeah,
so
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
be in our sights, so to speak.
Thank Jesus they are nerfing the musket. So in this portion of the video, they reference the content roadmap. If you haven't seen it already, it's on my screen here. And again, lots and lots of PvE content. Now, I know they referenced how they're going to be nerfing the musket huge in regards to PvP-oriented content. So if you have a best-in-slot PvP musket, try to sell it. However, later on in the video, you'll see it soon, they actually mention how they are going to try to make ranged weapons better in PvE oriented content. So if you have a fire staff, a bow, or honestly even a musket that has one of the Bane perks on it, such as Ancient Bane or Corrupted Bane or something along those lines, hang on to it because I wouldn't be surprised if the overall value of that goes up once these changes are implemented.
Does AGS see 80% of forum posts about musket and greatswords? Any plans for some balance? Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, we do see it, and I think the musket. We did try to take action in December with our changes to the damage fall off. It obviously did not achieve the result we wanted. We're aware of that. We are going to be taking some more drastic measures in the upcoming PTR again. The two main things we're going to be doing is, one, we're going to be looking at the accuracy of it and how that works and sort of the gameplay around that. I think it'll require players to become a little more in aim to hit their shots. So I think that'll
stationary.
A little more stationary. So that'll be big. The other thing is, I think mortal empowerment, if you're not familiar with it, is another big cascading factor.
Button item right there.
So it would not surprise me to see some nerfs to that perk in combination with the changes to the musket.
Okay, so not only is the musket getting nerfed in PvP situations, but also greatsword. So again, if you have a best in slot musket and or greatsword, I recommend selling it soon because the overall prices of those might dip with the upcoming patch. On top of that, mortal empowerment is getting nerfed. So a lot of people currently are trying to get kind of a best in slot mortal empowerment ring. Many times that includes hardy and then thrust damage or slash damage or some sort of elemental damage. But regardless, it sounds like that's getting nerfed pretty hard. A lot of people have the controversy of, oh, mortal empowerment is better than invigorated punishment. But honestly, if this change is being made, then the competition is hands down won by invigorated punishment. So if you currently have a mortal empowerment ring, I recommend selling it as soon as possible. I don't know how hard the nerf is going to be. However, it's going to be nerfed. I highly doubt that mortal empowerment will become best in slot moving forward. It will most likely become invigorated punishment across the board.
Are there any plans to revamp the portals to provide rewards outside of shards and gypsum? Could it possibly reward us with umbrals?
I don't want to talk exactly about what the exact rewards are, but I think we still really like the breaches. And I think what we're planning to do is make them feel like a little more of an event, right? So what we'll probably do is reduce the frequency of them, reduce the amount of them, but when they happen, I think they'll be very rewarding. And I think that's sort of the general direction we're going with them.
Okay, so don't quote me here, but they said that there are chances that they're going to reduce the frequency and increase how hard it is to actually complete corrupted breaches, as well as the overall reward system involved with them. Now, with that being said, there might be a big opportunity to stockpile some of these major brief caches, especially if they boost up the rewards a lot. I'm not sure about you guys. It's kind of a risky situation on how you want to spend your time, but I plan on stacking up a pretty hefty amount of these just in case, there's a slight chance that the rewards of these boost up a lot, especially if it's going to be a lot harder to actually complete them. So again, just another opportunity.
And have you considered separating weapon stats for PvP and PvE? Right now, it's not working trying to balance for both when a lot of PvP changes make weapons bad for PvE, like what's happened with the fire staff. Separating stats could mean weapons being actually good for PvE, and more frequent PvP balance changes to prevent a stagnant meta without affecting PvE.
Very pointed question, but a good one. Yes, it's super difficult to balance, obviously, PvE and PvP together. It's something we're working on, and we actually do have some tools already in our tool belt, right? Like things like Resilient are PvP only. We have the Banes, which are PvE only. And I think we're going to be digging into those even more as a first attempt at this. I think the perfect example is, I think a lot of people say, hey, ranged weapons aren't viable in high-level content, PvE content, like mutators or things like that. And there's some truth to that. And I think one of the things we're going to be trying out, again in the PTR, please come try it out, is making the Banes for ranged weapons even more powerful as a way to sort of amp up the viability of those weapons. That, and we'll also be removing those elemental resistances from the mutations, which really hurt the ice and fire staff users. So I think that's step one, and I think this is a hard problem. It's something we're looking at. We're going to continue to investigate. I think we are going to start. We're moving more and more to a world where we separate them, but I think doing that in a holistic manner is going to take a while. But these are steps in the right direction, I think.
There you go. As I referenced earlier in this video, they plan on buffing ranged weapons with Bane perks across the board for PvE-oriented content. So again, if you currently have or plan to have the best in slot items for PvE content, I recommend either hanging on to those Bane ranged weapons or checking out your trading post now and buying all that you see, because chances are the prices for those will go up once this hits live.
Is there a chance we could see hippos in Eternum in 2023?
No.
No!
No, hippos are, I think, I've seen all the people talking about hippos, and I think that it makes there's something really fun about seeing it, but I think that it needs the right environment. I would be more inclined for something of the simian family or something like that to enter first. But at some point, I think we will have hippos in the game.
If you made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you. Secondly, if you got something out of it and enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe, because I've got a lot more New World content coming soon. Thanks. Catch you guys later.